everybody and welcome back. My name is Kari and today I'm doing my June book haul. You remember when I said I had piles that you guys couldn't see? Well, these are some of them. Anyway, I'm sitting because I don't know what happened in June. I was improving, sort of, and then I just, again, lost my mind. But, in my defense, most of them were very cheap. And the rest of them were on sale anyway. So I'm okay! Right? Anyway, so that this video isn't 20,000 years long, let's get into the many books that I got in June. We're going to start with Henrik Ibsen's A Doll's House, which is apparently a new version by Frank McGinnis. I don't know who Frank McGinnis is, all I know is that Henrik Ibsen is Scandinavian, based on the name and the fact that I've heard his name before. I don't know what this is about, but my library had a bag sale again, and I went and I bought about 30 books. In my defense, only half of them were for me. I'm very happy. So this first stack is all from the book sale. The next one is The Pickwick Papers by Charles Dickens. I have read something by Charles Dickens. Great Expectations, maybe? Probably. And it was good. Also, I'm one of those people who really wants to get through the classics just because I'm curious how they affected our language and everything else. Culture, that's the word I'm looking for. So I do want to read The Pickwick Papers and I will get there. And I thought for 30 cents, why not? Also, as I have mentioned, I was looking for this book because it is the second one in the Winners trilogy and I didn't have it in the matching cover because these covers are much prettier than the other covers, and I found it at the book sale and I'm so excited, in case you can't tell by the fact that I'm grinning like a moron and speaking at the speed of light, which I should slow down. I found the second book. Obviously, I needed this. And then I started reading the Roman Mysteries by Caroline Lawrence because of Abby over at Autumn of Pellinor's recommendations. So because of that, I have been looking for the books so that I can own all of them. I think there's about 17. I also found out recently that there is a TV show that is on Amazon Prime that is based on the books. Each book has a two-part show, and I want to watch the show and see if it's any good, but I also want to read the books first so that I don't go into the books with the preformed idea of what should happen and what the characters look like. I found 5 Caroline Lawrence books at the bag sale. I found The Colossus of Rhodes, The Charioteer of Delphi, The Prophet from Ephesus, The Fugitive from Corinth, and The 12 Tasks of Flavia Gemina. I am beyond excited about these, obviously. They will not match the first 3, which I will show you in a minute because I bought those on Thrift Books and they're paperback. But for the sake of actually having them, I'm totally okay with a non-matching set. I'm just really excited I found so many. And then I found 4 random books. The first one being A Vintage Affair by Isabel Wolf. I really like the cover on this, first of all. I think it's fascinating and intriguing. This one is about a woman who leaves her job to start her own vintage clothing shop in London. And that was about all I needed to read before I was hooked, and like I said, for 30 cents, why would I not get it? Then we have Catherine by, oh, there's a foreword by Philippa Gregory, by Anya Seton, and this is about Catherine Swynford and John of Gaunt. So this takes place in the 1300s, 14th century. And I don't really know a lot about it, but it's medieval England, so why not? We also have A Countess Below Stars by Ava Thoughtson? I think so. Ibbotson? I don't really know if those are H's or B's, not the point. But this takes place after the Russian Revolution, and a countess goes to England because, you know, she doesn't want to die. Fair enough, right? I'm fascinated. And then the last one from the bag sale is King Arthur by Norma Laurie Goodrich. And this is another retelling, or no, I think this is nonfiction. I cannot recall. Oh no. Now Norma Goodrich has combed the fields of history, linguistics, anthropology, archaeology, and literature to offer the first complete historical proof of these characters. So I'm not sure if this is nonfiction. It sounds nonfiction, but I'm also just really fascinated by Arthur, and I thought, why not? So let me get into the rest of the books that I bought. Pile number 1. I've mentioned this in my July TBR because I would like to read this. Again, Abby from Autumn of Pelennor. Also, you should check out her channel because she's awesome and she has some of the greatest recommendations. We got talking about Vesuvius at one point, and I decided that I wanted to read more about this volcano that I only knew blew up and smothered Pompeii and Herculaneum. Turns out it's actually still active. Who knew? And apparently it blew up in 1944. Or erupted in 1944. It didn't blow up. Not the point. So I'm gonna read this in July, but also bought it in June. And then here are the first 3 of the Roman mysteries. So we have the Thieves of Ostia, the Secrets of Vesuvius, and the Pirates of Pompeii. Like I said, they don't match because 1, they're paperback, and 2, the covers don't match. But again, I have them now. So if I so choose, I will go and find the hardbacks, but I just like having the books. Then we got Shadowbrook by Beverly Swirling, which is 1754. Oh, basically we follow these 2 men in the 7 Years' War while the French and English are off killing each other yet again, except this time in the States. I mean, before they're the States, but that's not the point. The only pre-order book I had was The Stationery Shop by Marjan Kamali. This, first of all, is absolutely stunning, this cover. Oh my gosh. Second of all, this is 1953 Tehran, and a teenager finds a literary oasis in the stocked stationery shop. And apparently there's Rumi poetry, which is very interesting to me, and potentially some romance and some violence that disrupts that. I'm intrigued. I don't know really anything about 1953 Iran, so this ought to be good. I think Tehran's in Iran. If I'm wrong, please let me know. I could be wrong. I also got The Map of Knowledge, which is a 1,000-year history of how classical ideas were lost and found by Violet Muller. This one. Nonfiction that follows the paths of 3 important books, I think they're important, throughout history, from their beginnings to as recent as we can get, I guess. And, I mean, it's maps and books, and I love both. Oh no, that's one of the ones I got on sale. My bad. I also got The Soul of Power by Callie Bates, which, to be honest, was again a cover buy, because as you may have figured out by now, I do that a lot. This is a fantasy with somebody who becomes the reigning monarch who didn't really... Oh no, she's been groomed her whole life to be a monarch, and discovers that keeping a throne is very different from having a throne. There's something about music, because there's a whole lot of musical notes on this, and I am very intrigued. And again, cover. I got a book I've been looking for months, which is called Without Precedent. It is Chief Justice John Marshall and His Times by Joel Richard Paul. Now, okay, yep, you know I should know when he is, because we have the whole Marshall trilogy, which is not a great thing if you're an Indian lawyer, because Cherokee Decisions and Johnson v. McIntosh, those were not great decisions, but that is beside the point. Again, he was one of the, I think he might have been the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, and he made a lot of really important decisions, like I said, Johnson v. McIntosh, Marbury v. Madison, etc. I am intrigued, and I want to know more about this guy. Then we have The Lost Queen by Signe Pike, which is a retelling of King Arthur. Enough said. Here's the other Mercedes Lackey book that I got. It is Steadfast by Mercedes Lackey, and it is part of her Elemental Masters series. I would assume that there is some sort of fire elemental. I also got The Blood of Heaven by Kent Wascom, which is $17.99, and we are back in the States with an itinerant preacher. Sounds interesting. I also got Nemesis by Lindsay Davis, which is the summer of 77 AD, and we are in ancient Rome. People disappear, gotta figure out what's going on. I did mention I got a lot of books in June. I didn't want to reread Red Rising and Golden Sun on my Kindle, which is where I originally had them because Katie told me about them when she was in Nicaragua, and so I decided I'm not going to buy them physically at the time. I was just going to buy them on Kindle and find out, because I think they were doing that daily deal thing, so they were $2 each. I mean, why not? But since I'm rereading for the 5th book, I didn't want to reread them on Kindle, so I bought Red Rising and Golden Sun so that I could read them, you know, not on Kindle. I also, when I went to Disney at the end of May, beginning of June, was given a book. We were at Panera having lunch when we first arrived, and I looked over and saw this book. I just wanted to see the cover, and the guy who was sitting there, who turns out to be the author and signed it for me, just got up and gave me the book, which is really fascinating because whatever your religious beliefs, personally I love learning about everybody's religious beliefs because they're very similar or tend to be, and if they're not, then they're fascinating. I mean, they're fascinating either way. Let's just go with I love learning about absolutely everything. So this is Not Under the Law by M.W. Morris, and I got this for free and brought it back from Florida. Ooh, these piles. I also, on the way back from Florida in the airport this time, I was reading Voyager by Diana Gabaldon, and this woman came up to me and asked me if I wanted a book. Obviously, I said yes. And so she gave me The Duke That I Marry by Kathy Maxwell. This is a romance, and it is well loved. I don't really care. I will always take a free book, and romances are just really fun, quick reads. Now we go back to the ones that I actually bought. I must have bought this, but I don't remember it. Anyway, this is The King's Witch by Tracy Borman. This is, I believe this is a fiction about March of 1603, so right about when Elizabeth dies and James takes over and the politics at the court at the time. Then we've got a couple of classics, starting with Far From the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. I don't know anything about this, I just know that it's a classic and it was cheap. Like I said, I'm trying to get through classics. Next, I bought The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins, same reasons. Then I got Timeless by Gail Carriger, which is part of her Soulless series, which is the second series. Oh no, apparently this is the Parasol Protectorate series. I don't know, there's 3 different series that take place 20 years apart in the 1800s during Victoria's time. There's vampires and werewolves and girls who are assassins and intelligencers, and that's really all I needed to know. I like the first series, so we're buying the second. I also got Heartless, same thing, Soulless, and Changeless. There's 5 books. I got the last one in March, but these ones didn't arrive till June. Speaking of the first series, I bought them. So I have Waistcoats and Weaponry, I have Curtsies and Conspiracies, and I have Manners and Mutiny, and Etiquette and Espionage. So I now have the entire first 2 series, I just have to go find the 3rd. I know that was a lot of books. Believe me, I know that was a lot of books. Why do you think I'm sitting down? Because I would die. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.